Twins fans are up in arms about the Twins trade deadline deals. Does the Twins front office have a legitimate plan to contend next year? Let's get into that here on today's Chin Music, our baseball show at talknorth.com. Today's lineup: LaVelle Neal III, Star Tribune columnist and baseball guru. I'm Jim Souhan, also from the Star Tribune and talknorth.com. Best way to listen to this show or any show at talknorth.com. Please subscribe to your favorite podcast app. It's free. It's the easiest way to listen. And we're coming to you from the Aquarius Home Services studio.
Scott for Aquarius, your authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Yes, water is essential, but what if it came with sparkle and zero hassle? With Connecticut, enjoy softer skin, shiny fixtures, spotless dishes, and worry-free drinking water. It's home services made easy with 36 months, 0% financing during our State Fair special. Schedule your free water analysis at AquariusHomeservices.com. Financing based on credit approval. Aquarius, earning the right to be recommended.
In the summer of 1995, DVDs arrived in stores and Seinfeld dominated TV viewing. And a local Minnesota nature show called Minnesota Bound, hosted by Ron Shera and Raven the Black Lab, hit the air on KARE 11 on NBC. We're celebrating 30 years of storytelling with a TV special on Sunday, August 17th. Check out mnbound.com for more information.
We're also presented to you by Giggly THC Beverages and Onyx Maps. And thanks also to Minnesota Masonic Charities and Clamshell Beach Resorts. All right, LaVelle, the Twins front office didn't do this because they're just giving up and they don't think they're ever going to contend again. They don't think it's a 5-year rebuild. They think they can reset, build around the starting pitching that they did retain, build around the star caliber players they still have, and win next year. That will mean rebuilding the bullpen. Is there a feasible way to get all that done by the end of next spring training and be a contender next year?
I'm really not sure if they can, Jim. And here's the thing, too. I think they would have made a total of sent away 11 players and got back 13 in return. In prospect parlance, how many of those end up turning out? It's only a small percentage. I think you're hoping like 4 or 5 of those guys end up being contributing players on a major league team, and maybe a couple of those guys end up being really good players. But I'm not sure. The reasoning. Well, here's what I think. I think that ownership asked for to cut payroll, and Falvey can't come out and say that, and so his approach is to say, I have a new vision here. And we think that fixing the bullpen is the easiest of the 3 challenges. They have starting pitching in place, led by Ryan and Pablo Lopez. But we need to talk about that later in terms of what the offseason could look like. Because if the ownership still wants them to cut more payroll, how can those 2 guys be left to stay around? But he's also relying on the current core of position players to step up and become guys, and they haven't so far. I think Larnach is at the point now where I think he's got like 1,000 plate appearances in his career, and it may be what you see, what you get with him. Wilder homered yesterday against the Tigers, which he's been overdue. The terrific power is there. Can he harness it? Can he be more than like a 210 or was it 217 hitter like he is going into play today? Of course, Royce had superstar potential when he came up. He was Mr. Grand Slam a couple years ago. Charismatic, type of guy that can lead a team. Can he get to that level? And then like some of these other pieces, what type of hitter is Brooks Lee going to be? I like Brooks. I like his potential. I like his back to ball skills. I don't like it when he has like a 6-something OPS. So. It's not a slam dunk that they can get this thing rocking before the first pitch is thrown for the 2026 season. One way it would be easier for them to achieve that if there's new owners and new owners come in and authorize a couple noteworthy signings or to swing another deal that actually helps the major league team and put this team in the position to get off to a fast start next year, because that will help soothe some of the hard feelings that have been created over their decision to tear down the roster and save on payroll. But I think it can it help? Can it work? Yes, it can. But I'm just saying the odds of it working I think are a little tough.
Yeah. And for me, it works if your top pitchers stay healthy, because they will have very good starting pitching depth next year. You know, if either Bradley or Abel come along, if Zebby is the guy we think he is, if Festa is at least a fourth or fifth starter, or Simeon Woods Richardson, I mean, and then they have some pitching prospects coming. I mean, they're going to have about, 8 to 11 pitchers they think can pitch at the big league level. If the top 3 do their job and stay healthy, you might have some actual quality at 4 and 5. That's possible. That's reasonable. Position players, and then we'll have to rebuild the bullpen. They'll probably have to spend money or make certain trades to do that. And that I don't know how they do that in one off season, but it's theoretically possible if you go out and spend some money. The position players to me are the really interesting topic, and you hit on it. Like Larnach, if you just watch the games and you don't ever really look deep into the stats, you might have the impression that Larnach is a really good hitter. He hits home runs. He hits the ball hard. Looks like he knows what he's doing up there. When he gets his pitch, he hits it really hard. His OPS, which to me is still the best quick reference way to assess a major league hitter, is 722. It's about major league average. If you're a corner outfielder hits for power, it's got to be better than that. Batting average is bad, 254, or 243. It's not terrible, but 722 OPS has got to be better if he's going to be an everyday player. Right. Wallner's interesting because the batting average is terrible. When he's bad, he's really bad. He's going to strike out, but his OPS is the second best on the team of anybody who's played significant time.
Right.
Buxton is 905, star caliber. And the next best on the team of anybody who has a reasonable amount of at-bats is Wallner at 818, which is, way better than Larnach. It's way better than anybody else on the team. And then really the only regulars who have decent OPSs on this roster are Keishel, who did it in very few at-bats,
right.
Buxton, who's a star, Wallner, who hits the snot out of the ball, and Cody Clemens. I mean, after that, it's Harrison Bader who's gone, Castro who's gone, and then all the way down to Jeffers, who's having an average to below average offensive season. They just don't have guys producing at the plate. You can't trust Eddie Julian.
No.
So there is this skeleton of a decent lineup. If Jeffers hits, if Royce Lewis hits, if Buxton's healthy, if Brooksley or somebody else becomes a good hitting shortstop, which Brooksley is not a good hitter right now. If Keishel is the guy we think he is, if they can find production at first base and DH, and if some combination of Buxton, Wallner, and a third outfielder can produce some offense, it could happen, but man, there are a lot of ifs.
No, you're right. You're right. And especially in order to have a capable Major League Baseball caliber lineup, you got to have production at first base and DH. And the Twins have not had that.
Nope.
France was just a below average first baseman from a production standpoint. I actually am stunned that they were able to attach him on in the trade to move on from him. Could Cody Clemens be next year's starting first baseman? I mean, are we looking at that? Has he made enough improvement and has been functional enough in the field where the Twins would have to consider it? I mean, that would be the cheap way to go. It would cost you a lot to just see what he does and give him 400 plate appearances and see what numbers he puts up. But it's been impressive. The numbers say that somehow his bat speed has picked up. He says he hasn't done anything specifically to alter his swing to produce more bat speed, but the numbers are there, and he's hitting balls out of the park to left field, to center, to right. Does he deserve this chance?
Well, he also looks comfortable in tough situations, and he's also a savvy enough hitter to use the whole field. He's another guy. The batting average probably isn't going to be great, but the OPS is pretty good. And, I think he might actually be kind of the canary in the coal mine for this team offensively. If you have enough good hitters that he's your utility player, you're probably a pretty good team. If you have to play him every day, that might be a bad sign for you.
Well, he may be Willie Castro light next year.
I think he's one of the reasons they traded Willie Castro. I think they think he could be a super utility guy.
Yeah. And so that could be his superpower going into next year, man. So I just think it's hard to, and Roy has talked about this multiple times as well. I think it's hard to fill out a lineup if you don't know who your number 3 or number 4 hitter is. Of course, in today's game, I think Aaron Judge bats second for the Yankees. So, I mean, they don't have a fulcrum to the offense. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, the fulcrum could bat first, second, third, fourth, but you need somebody who's going to be in the lineup and producing runs, taking good at bats every day. They really need, right now, they need Royce Lewis to be that guy, which leads to the next question. Walker Jenkins, Emma Rodriguez, are they anywhere on the horizon?
Hey, man, I was thinking about this the other day. I think a year from now, we will be talking about them creating a path for Jenkins, for Rodriguez, although he's injured again at AAA.
I know. He cannot stay healthy.
Stay healthy. But you have to include Caleb Culpepper in that group, too.
Yeah.
He is producing at Wichita. And it's not, it used to be where if you were putting up numbers at AA, you're locked to be a decent major league hitter. That's kind of changed now because I think AAA rosters have gotten a little bit younger, so it's not that big of a deal anymore. At least that was someone was telling me a few weeks ago. But Culpepper could be at Wichita next year, which means he's going to be knocking on the door. So I think you have to consider creating a runway for these guys. I expect Jenkins. I think Jenkins just was Player of the Week, I believe, in AA. I think he hit 4 home runs last week. So he is showing out right now. But and those are three top 100 players, right?
Yep.
So
yes. What position do you think Culpepper will play in the big leagues?
The Twins think he can stick it short, but do you want him to stick it short? That's the question.
Yes, I do. I want him because I'm not impressed with Brooks Lee's production at the plate, and he's a nice fielder, but he's not a great fielder. He's not a great athlete. He just plays the position pretty well, but he hasn't done it for me offensively.
I agree, and I think there's something there he just hasn't tapped into.
I just don't think he hits the ball
hard.
Hard. He takes okay at bats in general, but if you don't hit the ball hard in today's game, you're not going to be valued.
And I also think he's more comfortable on the left side of the infield than the right. I haven't checked it lately, but it was late May, and all his errors were at second base, and he was actually pretty steady at third and short. But if Culpepper comes up, I want to see him play short, and would push Lee over to second. But then Lee's got to hit.
I want Keishel at second.
Well, yeah. That's a very good point. Do the Twins want Keishel at second, or do you want him in the outfield?
He's another guy you could shift. I think he's going to hit enough. You can play him at first base and feel good about it.
It's amazing how we've gotten so much hyped by a guy who's played 7 games in the majors.
I know, but here's the thing, though. He hit major league. He looked, not only did he look good hitting major league pitching, he looked like he was dominating major league pitching. It was like, throw anything in my zone, I'm going to crush it. Now he'll have slumps. Not very long ago we thought Royce Lewis was slump proof, and then he hasn't hit since. But Keishel, with the short swing, the bat speed, the athletic ability, I just don't. I don't know. Nobody's a can't miss, but for me as a major league hitter, he's pretty close. Yeah,
I can see that. Yeah, I was really excited for what I want to see, and unless Brooks surges here, unless he gives us something to think about over the last 7 weeks of the regular season, then I would have Keishel in the pecking order in front of Brooks Lee. And I don't know, there's something about Brooks that I like. I want to see him succeed, and I think there's talent there. And I'm just hoping that the light comes on and something clicks in when he starts driving the ball a little bit more. Keishel's hitting 263 for the Saints right now with a 710 OPS. And
that doesn't worry me because some hitters, once they've been to the big leagues, they have trouble getting adrenaline going for minor league games.
I believe his 20 days are up. I think the Twins have to make a decision.
Well, we're recording this on Tuesday morning. I think he might be the lineup Tuesday night in Detroit.
Okay. Yeah. I think it's time.
Yeah. I think he's ready. I think he'll be in the lineup tonight. So we'll get to reassess him. Much more to get to. I do want to tell you about Giggly THC beverages, GIGLI.com. Promo code Giggly North will get you up to 50% off your first order. After that, if you follow Giggly on socials, you'll find other discount codes. Great stuff. I just love the fact that I can have something that tastes like a cocktail that's made of fruit juice, ashwagandha, ginseng, makes you feel better. It's healthy. It's low calorie. It's affordable. It's high volume. So it's something you can sip on for a long time, unlike a cocktail that, it's like 3 or 4 ounces. You add ice to one of these things and you're looking at like 16, 20 ounces of liquid. It can last a long time and you're just going to feel good. You feel good when you're drinking it. It'll help you sleep well, and then you feel great the next day. No lethargy, no hangover. Highly recommend it. They're in Quick Trips across Minnesota. They're in plenty of other stores, or go to giggly.com and order. And again, promo code GigglyNorth. Highly recommend it. Great for your life. It's been great for my life. Also want to say that it is time to grab the boat. Let Onyx Fish help you find the next best bite. The Fish app offers the most comprehensive fishing tool for increasing your success. Use the Fish app to find new places to fish and sort lakes by species, abundance, trophy, and keeper potential. Onyx Fish also shows you hot spots, lake-by-lake regulations, and private and public land ownership information. Download Onyx Fish on the App Store or go to onyxmaps.com/fish to get more information about the app that is changing the game. All right, now let us move to the bullpen. Who do they have now that you see being in the bullpen next year, and how many arms will they have to add from outside the organization to have a competitive bullpen next year?
That's a hell of a question, Jim, because I've never seen such a comprehensive blow up of a bullpen at the trade deadline before. And it makes you wonder, how did the Twins not have a winning record with this group?
I know it was such a dynamic. Now, one of the problems is Griffin Jax had a bad year, or at least, he had moments, but he was not consistent. Yeah. I still think that that loss in Los Angeles, where he ends up walking a light hitting right-handed hitter that Rocco walked Ohtani for him to get to, and then he whined about it afterward. I think that was that might have been the moment where the front office was like, okay, enough of this.
Your conspiracy theory about Jax complaining leading to his trade, it may have been spot on.
Yeah.
Because apparently he put in a request to be traded when he saw other players being moved during the deadline. And that was coming off that spat he had when he had to apologize to Rocco after the game.
And I think you could have survived trading Jax if you kept Duran and Varland and even Brock Stewart. Those are three power right-handed arms, and Jax was not performing this year, so I wouldn't have minded just a Jax trade, but it was blowing up the entire bullpen that was problematic.
I agree. Well, okay, who's back next year for the bullpen? Well, Cole Sands for sure.
Yep.
He may have to step up more in the seventh. It depends who else they bring in, but right now, seventh or eighth inning role. Justin Topa is going to be 35 next year, but I have to say that he's been functional. If you keep him in a sixth inning type role, I think he could, be a veteran arm that can help. I don't know what left-hander they're going to. Cody Thunderberg is a lefty. I'm not fired up very much about that. I think Connor Pralip, who's at Wichita right now, has got a chance to make the team next year out of the bullpen. And Jim, I saw him pitch on the backfield in spring training. I think it was 3 years ago. And he was coming back from surgery before he had another setback. And there was a bunch of scouts in the backfield. And I don't know if you remember Mike Venafro, who was in Twins camp one year. He's a scout for the Angels. So I was like, why are there so many scouts here? And he's like, this is like the Loch Ness Monster here. It's like there's been rumors they exist, but no hard proof. So I stood there and watched him throw, and he was hitting 97 on the gun, and the slider was filthy. It was a plus slider in scout parlance. And I'm like, this guy, if he doesn't stick as a starter, he could be a hell of a reliever. So I think Pralip has got a great chance of being an impact lefty for the Twins next year. Other than that, I'm really not sure who else. Travis Adams is kind of an interesting guy. He was touching 96 yesterday.
And he was getting outs with his fastball up in the zone against a very good hitting team. He got, he tired out and they beat him up in the fifth or whatever. But I actually liked what I saw there the first 4 innings.
I did too. He's got kind of that gyro slider thing that he flips up there. I wish he had something slightly harder just to throw the hitters off a little bit more. But he's got the velocity to come out of the bullpen and do something here. So I wonder if he could have a role. But after that, I don't know if we're looking at anybody else. I'm not. Sorry, Erasmo. I'm glad you're back in the majors, but I don't know. Same thing for Michael Tonkin, who's this is like his third or fourth stint with the Twins, trying to have a major league career. I think the Twins should be looking for at least 2 bullpen arms, if not 3, during the offseason.
Yeah, I agree with you. Let's talk about Chris Paddock and then get into our Booze and Blues segment. We do want to thank a great Minnesota company that helps so many people, Minnesota Masonic Charities.
When people think of the Freemasons, they often think of secret handshakes and unusual hats, and of course, the pancake breakfast. Minnesota Masonic Charities would prefer that you think about the work that they do right here in our community. Places like the Masonic Cancer Center at the University of Minnesota or the Masonic Children's Hospital and the Masonic Home in Bloomington. They are just a few examples of the important work that the Freemasons support here in Minnesota. As part of the largest fraternal organization in the world, Masons have consistently answered the call when it comes to charitable needs. We look forward to learning so much more about their many programs here in the weeks to come.
And here's Talk North star Michael Russo for Clamshell Beach Resorts.
Hey, have you been dreaming of a lake cabin lifestyle with boating, fishing, and family fun in northern Minnesota? Well, lately I've thought a lot about how cool it would be to have a getaway like so many Minnesotans. And if you're like me, you probably think that owning your own lakeside getaway is beyond your budget. Well, if you think lake cabin real estate prices keep going up, well, think again. This is Russo, and I'm here to tell you there is an affordable way to enjoy a cabin lifestyle and all that goes with it. And yes, I said affordable. I founded a Clamshell Beach Resort, which is located on the Whitefish chain of 14 lakes for you and your family to enjoy. Here's how. Clamshell has lake homes that offer deeded fractional ownership, and the keywords there are deeded and fractional. You own it. Imagine having 5 weeks a year to enjoy Clamshell with its beaches, pool, and lodge that's full of kids' activities. Is golf your game? There's a great golf course right across the road. Like winter sports? Well, you can go ice fishing, cross-country skiing, or snowmobiling right out the door at Clamshell. And there's no maintenance, no grass mowing, no snow removal. It's done all for you. And you can own a share of Clamshell Beach Resort at an affordable price. To learn more about ownership opportunities at Clamshell Beach Resort, go to cottagesonwhitefish.com or contact Pat Egan at 612-220-9819. That's cottagesonwhitefish.com or Pat Egan at 612-220-9819.
All right, so Chris Paddock gets traded. He's always one of those guys he was kind of the Emilio Pagan thing, tried to be positive even when things weren't going well, always tried to say the right thing. And then he goes to Detroit and immediately starts bitching about the Twins' nutrition or whatever. I just thought that was really weak. I mean, and listen, maybe I'm not saying Detroit doesn't, maybe they do something better. Maybe they have a fancier kitchen. Maybe they have a better nutritionist. I don't know. But it just felt really cheap and whiny for a guy who had always tried to be positive before. The minute he's out the door, he's complaining.
That really disappointed me about him because I've interviewed him a few times. Always thought he was generally a stand-up guy who could tell a good story and had a little personality and seemed to be well liked in the clubhouse. That was startling, and it was right away. It wasn't like even waiting to the off season or maybe to the end of the season. It was like the first day he's in Detroit. Oh, the kitchen staff, all the people here, all the clubhouse staff. Oh, it's so much better than Minnesota. I'm like, did he say that? Did he just choose the wrong words and he was excited and caught up in the moment? You know, it's just like the Notre Dame coach, Rich Kelly. He got hired by LSU. All of a sudden, he had a Creole accent. You know, he just got caught up in the moment and just wanted to be just gushing about the organization and just chose the wrong words. I don't know, but he should be grateful. The Twins gave him a chance to recover from a second Tommy John surgery. They signed him what? I think he made $12 million over 3 years.
They paid him to be injured.
Yes. They paid him to come back from his injury, and he got injured again. And then he continued to collect a check. Yeah, he made 3 years, $12.5 million. That he made $12.5 million, and how many innings did he throw to earn that? He should be grateful. I was really bummed out to read those comments from him. Usually people are really gracious, especially when a team gave him a second chance and was able to ride out the storm with him. They give him a chance to have continue his major league career.
His stats with the Twins, by the way, 226 innings pitched, 4.88 ERA, 10 victories, and he made however many $1 million. You know what? When you're making that much money and you have that much time on your hands because you're always injured, buy your own damn protein shake.
Yeah, no kidding. You're at 10 wins, $12 million for 10 wins. That's worse than Homer Bailey. I think Homer Bailey made $7 million for the Twins and pitched like 6 innings all year or something like that.
Yeah.
That might be worse than Homer Bailey, man. So that was disappointing to hear, you know. It's been tough for Twins fans, you know, to see how the Correa thing shook out. And he had some comments when he when he rejoined Houston, and then to have Paddock to piggyback on that, that's just a bummer. It's going to be a long. I think there's 40 games left. It's going to be a long 40 games.
It's going to be a long. This is like watching bad spring training games. And I do radio hits around the state, and I talk to fans a lot, and sometimes I don't know how else to put it. Sometimes fans just don't get it. They're like, "Oh man, they lost last time." Like, they are programmed to lose, and at this point, they might as well lose and get a higher draft pick. These games don't matter. This is not competitive baseball. They stopped competing last week. This is just spring training, man.
It is. For a beat writer, it's horrible because, you never want a team that's sitting at 500. You kind of want a great team or a team that really stinks. So, Bobby Nightingale and Phil Miller, you're just going to have to come up with all the creative ways to chronicle a team that's plummeting here. Because with this bullpen, it's actually 50 games left. I can see the Twins going 20 and 30 the rest of the way, maybe another 10 games under 500, maybe fewer wins. They're going to have to come up with some stuff to keep people interested.
Well, the one thing is, at least they're going to have new faces. They're basically they're going to be covering a major league tryout camp, and at least there will be developments where somebody might surprise, somebody might fail. They might, maybe Keishel gets hot and you get to write about him for the next month. So it's better than like just a team that had no changes. At least there's something new. And the other thing I'll say, Bobby Nightingale, Phil Miller do a great job for us. They were great on the trade deadline, and they're a great combination. Bobby really grinds on the news. Phil's a wonderful writer. They're both great people to be around. So congratulations to them for all their good work this year.
Yes.
Let us get to booze and blues. Anything on your mind from those provocative categories?
I got a booze thing for you this week because I was at a backyard party this weekend where booyah was served. It was really, really good, by the way. Actually, out in your own stomping grounds in Lakeville, sir. And so someone had me try it. I've never had the Penelope bourbon line before, and so they had one called Rio. And it is a double cask finish of American honey and Brazilian oak. And it was fantastic. A lot of times I don't like the super flavored bourbons. I like things that are robust, but I don't like to be able to taste the preponderance of like flavor. But the honey hits you when you first taste it. But it was really smooth. And it was really tasty. And I really enjoyed it. So now I'm going to start looking out for it the next time I go to the store. It's called Penelope Rio. And while I was looking up background on Penelope Rio, I found another Penelope that I think we all should try together, just on general principle. And I will tell you it as soon as I get it up here. The name of it is F Cancer. Right? The label actually has F asterisk CK Cancer. And as someone who's lost both his parents to cancer, and how cancer's probably impacted everyone who's listening to this podcast in some way, shape, or form. Penelope came up with this special bourbon to support the battle. I'm guessing proceeds are being donated for research. So I'm going to buy a bottle of Rio the next time I find some Penelope bourbon. And I'm going to buy this Bleep Cancer bourbon as well, just on general principle.
I like it. I have a really out-of-the-box recommendation. I'll usually do music. I'll do booze this time. If you're ever in Nassau, Bahamas, rent a reputable driver and go tour John Watling Distillery. It's a kind of an island institution, and they make all different levels of rum. And as with every other booze, the more expensive stuff is the better stuff, and it costs more. And we bought a very expensive bottle of rum there. Their 10-year bullion. And it is one of the best things I've ever had. I can't believe how good it is. It's just straight sipping rum. There are other rums are very good too. And, some of them are good mixers. Some of them are good light sippers, but, the expensive stuff, if you're ever there, go tour the place because it's a great history lesson. They basically take you through the history of the island, as viewed from people who used to work and live in that building. Beautiful building. You get to watch the distilling process. You get to watch them actually making the rum. It was a blast. It was one of the best things we did on our last vacation. So I highly recommend that. Let's wrap up today's show. Once again, thanks to our sponsors who make this all possible. And thanks to everyone who listens to TalkNorth.com. Let's wrap up this show. Any update on the ownership situation?
Now, the only thing that popped up was that the day after Black Thursday, as I'm calling it, because I couldn't come up with a better phrase, there was a report out that said that the sale process is still proceeding in a positive manner. I texted an official. He said there's still multiple options on the table, but things are still proceeding. So my conspiracy theory was that the Twins were far enough along in the sale process to tell Falvey to cut payroll so they could cut their costs a little bit while they're going out the door. But I don't have any hard evidence of that. But I wish we could come up with a name for readers and listeners and fans to be pacified by. But, so these people like to work behind the scenes until the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. So be patient. I still think that by the end of the regular season, we can know the name of the future owner of the Twins. And there has not been any warning signs for the last couple months that the process has gone haywire. So it takes some solace in that, I guess.
Good stuff, LaVelle. I appreciate it. We'll talk to you next week. Thanks to everyone who listens. We do appreciate it. Check out the rest of the shows at TalkNorth.com. We have the best lineup in town, sports and outdoor content. And we're starting up a fantasy football show with Randy Shaver and Kevin Gorg. We're going to have a lot of fun this fall. So, and check out Randy Shaver's high school football show as well. Also, Mark Rosen's Sports Monday, Don Mitchell's interview show, Dawn of Sports. And we'll talk to you soon.